Peppermint, come on! Your turn, Peppermint! Pick it up! 12? Peppermint, come on!
Yes. Fuck. This glitch be happening sometimes. Man, I low-key want to just...
saying due to these two things, she is like a mini Tsunade. Kakashi seems to be more or less the same guy. He always acts smart when confronted with a problem. He's still powerful, far more so than the kids, and he is still just as laid back as he normally is. But Kakashi doesn't really need to grow, at least not yet. We just saw him develop into the person we came to know in part 1. Having him develop again off screen really wouldn't make any sense. He does have a new jutsu though, and it should be extremely obvious which one I'm talking about, but I'll save that for later. Another thing that should be extremely obvious at this point in the manga is that Sasuke is purposefully omitted from any of these new introductions, and we don't even get to see his character design aside from a black outline that Genjutsu Sai and his back while taking a nap until chapter 306, a full 62 chapters after the beginning of part 2. Sasuke being this disconnected from his teammates fits the theme of part 2 for sure, but this is something already well established in part 1. Of course, over 2 years it widens the gap as they've had no interaction since then, so of course the time skip serves the purpose of all of our characters have grown up and matured. As far as power goes, this skip could be 6 months, and if anything, it would just make the entire cast more impressive. Especially thinking in terms of Sasuke, who even after all this time, him getting this strong is seen as the result of some sort of performance enhancing drug, at least in the eyes of both Tsunade and Sakura. I guess if he got this strong in 6 months, he'd have been taking super mega performance enhancing drugs or something. Now let's briefly take the time to catch up with the rest of the Konoha 11 before moving on to Naruto's less than desirable power up from between the two parts. Neji, we don't really get to see.
I always thought, like, when I was first watching this show, when I was first watching Shippuden as a kid, it actually pissed me off how much, like, I actually, like, vehemently hated Sasuke. Like, I used to say nothing but bad things on his name. Because of how much cooler of a character, like, even as a kid, I had the take that it seems like Sasuke is cooler than Naruto in every way. Like, Naruto... Like, Sasuke has cooler jutsu. The Sharingan alone is cooler than almost everything Naruto has. I'll be honest, I think the Shadow Clone jutsu and Sage Mode is definitely cooler than the Sharingan. The only thing that isn't cooler than Sage Mode is... The only thing that Sage Mode isn't cooler than versus the Sharingan is the Mangekyo Sharingan, aka like Kamui and shit, but everything, the Sage Mode is so way cooler. It's I think not only does it make you more powerful, like someone with Sage Mode is going to be way more powerful than someone with a Sharingan. Even though Sage Mode puts you on Mangekyo Sharingan level, if not above, because the Rinnegan, because the Sage Mode was able to combat the Rinnegan, and the Rinnegan is definitely more powerful than Mangekyo Sharingan. Now, Sasuke is kind of an exception. Sasuke's performance with the Mangekyo Sharingan is like really powerful, and it's like okay, if Sasuke were to catch Pain with Amaterasu, would he survive it? And it's like, I don't know. But it's also, I also definitely, and with like Naruto Sage, can Naruto dodge the Amaterasu? And if like, and I'm saying this because like when you say Sage Naruto versus uh, MS Sasuke, MS Sasuke low key has more lethal techniques besides the Rasen Shuriken. But Amaterasu is definitely faster than the Rasen Shuriken, but the Rasen Shuriken is definitely more powerful. Like one hit with the Rasen Shuriken, I don't give a fuck how powerful. I don't give a fuck how powerful Sasuke's Susanoo is. It's not surviving a Rasen Shuriken. At the very least, two of them, like Naruto. Naruto can create like two Rasen Shuriken and big Rasen Shurikens and shove them up your ass with fucking Sage Mode.
D in action.
So it's I forgot. I completely lost my train of thought. But basically, what I'm saying is, it's kind of debatable when you say, okay, MS Sasuke versus Sage Naruto, because MS Sasuke has a bunch of counters to Sage Naruto. Like Amaterasu, Fire Style is the counter to Wind Style, and Rasen Shuriken is definitely, you know, could Sasuke counter Rasen Shuriken with Amaterasu? I don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows in that fight. Could Naruto dodge the Amaterasu in Sage Mode? I don't know. Would Naruto gas out before Sasuke gassed out? I don't know, because Naruto only can be in Sage Mode for 5 minutes. So Naruto would low-key need prep time. But also, if we're talking about Kage Summit Naruto, that Naruto can just like blink and turn into yes, yeah, man.
For some time.
They're also low key said to be equals, like Kage Summit Naruto and Sage Naruto. Kage Summit Sasuke and Sage Naruto are like compared to be equals. So I don't know.
But upon meeting Shikamaru, we're
I
told
hate that comparison. I definitely think Sage Naruto is more powerful, but there are arguments that you can make that makes it equal.
He's become a Jonin alongside both Kankuro and Tamari. Everyone else, meaning Hinata, Shino, Kiba, Sakura, Ino, Choji, Tenten, and Rock Lee, were promoted to Chunin. Aside from Shikamaru, who ascended to the rank towards the end of part 1 just before the Sasuke retrieval arc kicked off. Naruto is surprised to hear that about all of his old friends.
I remember, where I was going with this. I used to vehemently hate Sasuke, but now that I'm older, I definitely see why Naruto needed this time skip. Naruto definitely needed to learn the fundamentals of being a ninja again. Or he definitely was not on the level of Sasuke. If you rewatch part 1, you really have to no. Don't rewatch part 1, read part 1. You have to read the manga, because if you read the manga, you'll really get an idea of how bad you'll really get an idea of how bad of a ninja Naruto was. Naruto was heavily carried by his natural biology, his natural chakra reserves, and the Nine-Tails Fox. Other than that, Naruto has no practical skills as a ninja whatsoever. The only thing, Naruto can barely do hand-signs. The only reason Naruto can do Shadow Clone Jutsu is because he has a fuck ton of chakra, it requires one hand seal, and it's not that hard. It's basically a jutsu that has nothing to do with skill. It's basically just pure chakra. It's like, do you have the chakra to do this jutsu? That's what the Shadow Clone is. Most people don't. That's why Sasuke doesn't use it. Madara, Itachi, none of them use it, because you're literally, when you use one Shadow Clone, that's 50% of your chakra right there. So it's just like, Naruto just doesn't have any skills like the rest of the kids. And also, that's not a fault of Naruto. Not only is Naruto an underdog, he's not that smart or talented. He has to do it. He has to get it out the mud. He also never had a teacher. So every other she had a teacher, he had a teacher, she had a teacher. All of the Naruto kids. The reason why every single kid besides Naruto is way more skilled than Naruto, and that's on purpose. Every single person in part one is more skilled than Naruto. If you don't know that, if you haven't noticed that, that is basically true. The only Naruto may be more powerful than other characters because he just has latent power that other characters don't have. You know, he's an Uzumaki and he's the non-tails jerk. He's gonna just naturally be able to do things that they can't. But when it comes to pure skill, like who's better at martial arts, who's better at throwing kunai, who's better at doing things like that, Shikamaru's almost every single kid in the Konoha 12 is more skilled than Naruto in almost every way.
Friends, and then saddened by the fact that he's been left behind.
Not in almost every way, but every kid has an advantage that Naruto doesn't.
This isn't explicitly drawn on his face, but there's a technique Kishimoto does with his backgrounds when Naruto feels singled out or empty, where the background goes completely black, and we see this in its most extreme form after he falls to his knees after failing to bring Sasuke back in towards the beginning of Shippuden. But when Naruto asks about Gaara, we get a different reaction from the manga than the rest of the characters. And this is fitting as Gaara seems to have changed the most compared to the rest of the cast, which I'll get more into later. Gaara obviously has become the Kazekage, and he's obviously matured a bunch since we last saw him in part 1. That was the beginning of seeing him change as a character, and it seems to be completed here and complemented by his ascension to Kazekage. We also get to see he's much more powerful now, fighting off an Akatsuki member and covering the entire village in sand to protect it from Deidara's bomb. In chapter 249, titled The Kazekage Stands Tall.
This is what I don't fucking understand when people try to say that Toph can beat Gaara. It makes no fucking sense. Hold up, I got a picture. I gotta find it. I'll just find it. Hold up. Sand Tsunami Deidara. Okay, so this is part 1. This is like episode 3 of Shippuden, if you did not know this. This is like episode 3. This is like episode 2. This is like episode 3 or 4. Like no cap. It gets the Kakashi fight is going. Kakashi and Sakura versus no. Naruto and Sakura versus Kakashi is going on at the same time as this. And what's his name? Gaara gets stronger throughout the series. So it's and what's her name? Toph. Toph struggled. Was like, oh, bro. Toph Toph was so preoccupied with holding up this library. Yeah, Toph was so preoccupied with holding up this library that she couldn't save. She literally it was either let Aang and the gang die, or let Appa get captured. And she took, she was like, all right, I gotta just we can get Appa back later. I can't let them get fucked up. So, yeah. There's no way. I'm not saying that Toph isn't strong, but like, bro, you cannot tell me. And the reason I'm saying this is because, like, earthbending. I won't say that like your physical strength is correlated to your earthbending, but like, you get what I'm trying to say. Toph holding up a building was like her struggling, whereas Gaara casually is summoning tsunamis of sand. There's no way Toph is going to be able to counter that. Even though Toph can sandbend, I don't think she's going to be so preoccupied with trying to stay alive in the sand that while Gaara is just putting sand over, just putting waves of sand and sand on top of her, Toph is gonna suffocate. She's gonna suffocate and she's gonna die. Also, I don't think Toph has anything in her arsenal that's gonna allow her to get past the sand armor. And people will say this, well, Toph would just bend the sand. It's like, wait a second. That's also a bad argument because you're saying that Toph is going to have more control over Gaara's sand than Gaara. Gaara's sand is literally infused with his chakra. He can infuse sand. Gaara can infuse his sand. Gaara can infuse sand that isn't his with... So he can take his chakra infused sand, infuse sand that isn't his with his sand, and get more sand. So it's no. That's such an insane argument to say that Toph would have more control over Gaara's sand than Gaara.
To see Gaara mostly on the offensive, and then we get a nice dialogue between Gaara and Kankuro, where Gaara is talking about wanting to become connected to the people of his village, and he thinks that sharing your feelings with others isn't a weakness, it's strength. We get this seemingly flipped on its head when it's revealed Deidara dropped a C3 on the village to distract Gaara and weaken him to eventually beat him, which leads to Gaara's demise, seemingly proving him wrong. But because of his connection that Gaara had formed with Naruto, Naruto was able to touch the heart of Granny Chiyo, who brought Gaara back to life, so Gaara wasn't wrong after all. I mention this to say not much of our side cast seems to have developed much at all aside from ascending to these higher ninja ranks. Sasuke, Naruto, and Gaara all had pretty good development, Sasuke and Gaara being the major standouts here. Obviously the time skip is somewhat needed, but I can't find a great reason for it to be.
That's why I kind of disagree when people say that Naruto didn't use his side characters. They definitely did. Now, does every side character get the appreciation they deserve? No, but I honestly think in most medias that's the case. You can say that Katara in Avatar didn't get the... Like, after season 2, you can argue that Katara didn't get the shine she deserved. With Dragon Ball Z, you can say a lot of characters in that show didn't get the shine they deserved. And my argument with Dragon Ball Z, it's like, bro, they're not strong enough to get their own moments. Like, Goku and Vegeta are the main characters. Their powers eclipse everyone else's. So you can't... I don't think it's fair to think that Tien and Yamcha and Chaozu, all them characters are going to be able to catch up every arc. That wouldn't make any sense. Especially when the characters are progressing in strength so fast. But my point with this is, I feel like the reason why people are so heavily criticized... I feel like the reason why people are so heavily critical with Naruto's side characters is because their side characters are just that potent. Obito, Itachi, Gaara, Madara, Kakashi, Guy, Rock Lee. Every single one of these characters is beloved even more so than the main character, bro. You know how many people love Itachi more than they like Naruto? It's almost, bro, I would argue that there are more people who like Itachi more than they like Naruto. I honestly, on a good, in the early 2000s, before Naruto became this badass who could defeat anybody, back when the Pain arc was still coming out, no. Back when the early war arc, when Edo Itachi was a thing, when that shit was coming out, you cannot convince me that people like Naruto more than Itachi. People to this day glaze that nigga to hell and back. You know how many videos on YouTube, bro? Just type in Itachi glaze, you're gonna find an endless amount of videos of people talking about that shit. He's low key he's the character. Bro, somebody in real life killed themselves because Itachi died in the show. That should tell you all you need to know about how much niggas glazed this nigga.
2 years beyond making the
Itachi is
characters
the
more
original Duke Dennis.
mature in the long run. But I think it speaks more for the bleak state of the world if these characters have to grow up quicker. And then it's not like the maturity is all that crazy. Naruto still does things like using the sexy jutsu in the middle of a public street. And it would also speak more to the prodigious nature of these kids, that they can learn and adapt to the things that they had in part 2 at a faster rate. And I think people would be much more fair to Naruto, who didn't seem to learn much after 2 years of a time skip, let's say if it was around 6 months or so. Now let's move on to Naruto's less than desirable power up. Okay, so over the course of this time skip, we know Naruto was training for a few things. I'm going to list them first and then elaborate on them afterwards. One is to gain better control of the Nine Tails. That seemingly stopped early on into his training. 2 is Genjutsu resistance. 3 is a bigger Rasengan, and 4 is he seems to get a little bit smarter. To elaborate on number 1, I think Naruto's lack of gaining anything from this training following the time skip makes it virtually pointless to bring up. Naruto still can't control Kurama's chakra, and with the seal weakening over time, we never even see him gain less than 1 tail, which we knew he could control even before the time skip. So this is utterly useless for Naruto's development, and we know it stopped early on in his training because when we see Jiraiya and Naruto have a flashback, it's when Naruto is a little kid that this happened, not his grown-up self. I guess you could say Naruto hit a growth spurt and looked younger for longer,
yeah,
but we don't
that
really
is a bit dumb.
know.
They could have at least given him 1 tail. Come on, bro.
Pointless to
There's
bring
9 of them
up.
bitches, bro.
Naruto still can't control Kurama's chakra, and with the seal weakening over time, we never even see him.
Okay, so there are multiple moments where his eyes go red, and that means he's using Kurama's chakra. So we can give him some credit. He can use the chakra a little bit better, but it's not much. They definitely should have. He should be able to snap on cloak 1. Like, they should give him 1 cloak.
Gain less than 1 tail, which we knew he could control. Following the time skip makes it virtually pointless to bring up. Naruto still can't control Kurama's chakra, and with the seal weakening over time, we never
just make it so, okay, if Naruto uses 1 tail, he uses a lot of his energy, so he has to end the fight quickly. That's a very fair and balanced way. If you don't want Naruto to be that much stronger, I mean, they already gave Sasuke the ability to suppress his fucking Nine Tails chakra. Like, as if he could. Where the fuck did he learn how to do that? I don't know. So it's like, if y'all don't want Naruto using the Nine Tails power against that many people, just keep that. Just make it so, he gasses out quickly. There's no reason. I don't understand why they had to make him this weak. Now, I do accept that, like, Naruto needed more fundamental. So, what they're basically saying, Naruto needed fundamental training. So, he needed to relearn, he had to learn basic taijutsu. He had to learn all that shit. Because if you rewatch part 1, when Naruto fights, most of his fights involve him making a bunch of shadow clones, running up one by one and trying to punch you with the weakest fucking punch ever. Only by the Chunin exams does he start learning some taijutsu. Like, he does the Naruto, the Uzumaki Barrage. Like, once he starts using the Uzumaki Barrage and shit, that's when he starts learning taijutsu. After he gets fucked up by Rock Lee, he starts learning taijutsu. But before that, rewatch Naruto. I promise you. Naruto just makes shadow clones, runs at you with his fist raised up, and tries to hit you. That was most of his strategies. Whereas in Shippuden, he's actually using strategies. He's faking out. He's using diversions. He's using stealth. He'll send his shadow clones after you while he sneaks up behind you and tries to stab you. Part 1 Naruto was never doing shit like that.
never even see him gain less than one tail, which we knew he could control even before the time. He could control Kurama's chakra, and with the seal weakening over time, we never even see him gain less than one tail, which we knew he could control even before the time skip. So this is utterly useless for Naruto's development, and we know it stopped early on in his training, because when we see Jiraiya and Naruto have a flashback, it's when Naruto is a little kid that this happened, not his grown-up self. I guess you could say Naruto hit a growth spurt and looked younger for longer, but we don't really know. Moving on to number 2, Naruto's genjutsu resistance is lackluster and does absolutely nothing. To be completely fair to Naruto though, he was up against the genjutsu guy himself, Itachi, when this was on display for the first time, but I don't think that really matters from a story perspective. I don't think it's asking too much to have Naruto break a genjutsu that isn't even an ocular genjutsu, and let alone one we have never even seen before or will ever see again after this. But instead of this, Naruto is saved by Chiyo and never has to break out of a genjutsu for the rest of the series. I'm going to bring this up a little bit later on and elaborate on it more, but for now we'll leave it there. Getting into number 3, yes, Naruto did learn a bigger Rasengan, but this would be a lot more special had the Rasengan actually been much bigger. Like say Sage Jiraiya's Rasengan, or not even that. 50% of the size of Sage Jiraiya's Rasengan would still be crazy. And Naruto's Rasengan does damage. Look at the crater that just the force of it making contact with Itachi created. It's extremely large. The last one to mention is Naruto getting a bit smarter, which mainly comes from his ability to charge. The last
in the data books, it says that this big ball Rasengan has the power of a small meteorite.
One to mention is Naruto getting a bit smarter, which mainly comes from his ability to defeat Kakashi during the bell test.
So he does have some, you got to give him some credit. That big ball Rasengan is apparently like getting hit with a small meteorite, apparently. Some shit like that.
Favorite novel, or I guess fake spoiling in this case.
But, come on, bro. Naruto would never hit Sasuke with that fucking attack. Naruto would never hit Itachi. That was a clone of Itachi. That was not Itachi. That was like a clone of Itachi that wasn't even trying.
I think literally all of this would be fine to learn over the course of 6 months. Training to master the 9 tails amounted to nothing. His genjutsu resistance amounted to nothing. His big Rasengan is good, but it's just a broader interpretation of a jutsu Naruto already mastered in a short amount of time anyway.
It's lackluster because it's just a bigger version of a jutsu he already has. Like, holy fuck.
His big
Like, imagine if they hyped up Sasuke this whole time. Like, this 2 years they're saying, man, Sasuke's just the strongest motherfucker since Itachi. I mean, like, holy fuck, like, I don't know how strong he is. And then we just get so much hype for Sasuke, and then the only thing Sasuke's developed is a bigger Chidori. Come on. No, not a bigger Chidori, but he can do Chidori in both hands now. That'd be fucking lame as shit. That's basically what they did with Naruto. All this time, 2 years, Sasuke has a sword. He mastered his Sharingan, fire style. He has Kidding. He has Chidori Nagash, Chidori Stream, Chidori. I can't even remember all the Chidori variants. He got them Chidori needles. He's got the curse mark. He can fly. He can summon snakes. Come on, bro. You gotta lock in Naruto. What does Naruto have? A bigger version. Come on, man.
Rasengan is good.
Like, Kishimoto was sucking off Sasuke for some reason.
But it's just a broad training to master the 9 tails amounted to nothing. His genjutsu resistance amounted to nothing. His big Rasengan is good, but it's just like,
you want Naruto to be cooler and you want Naruto to improve, but you have him go up against characters who are so fucking strong that all of the improvements that he made doesn't matter because Itachi eclipses Naruto. Itachi is so strong that Itachi is arguably Itachi is stronger than the person who's teaching Naruto. So Itachi was like effortlessly able to beat Orochimaru. Orochimaru was able to take on both Tsunade and Jiraiya at the same time without his arms. Now, to be fair, Jiraiya was drugged. Tsunade was nerfed too. But that still doesn't change the fact that they're called the Three Sannin, the three-way deadlock. I'm pretty sure in the data books it's said that that Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade are equals. And they definitely are equals. Like, we don't have to discuss this. We all know that they're equals. If they're not equals, they're all relative to each other. If Tsunade and Jiraiya were to fight, if you think Tsunade would win, I'm not going to argue with you. If you think Jiraiya would win, I'm not going to argue with you. Same with Jiraiya. If you said Jiraiya versus Orochimaru and you said Orochimaru wins, I'm not going to argue with you. Tsunade versus Orochimaru, Tsunade wins, again, not going to argue with you. They all have powers that cancel each other out. They're equals. Even Hanzo said, y'all are all the same. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hanzo said that they're equals. And Itachi beat the fuck out of Orochimaru. So I'm pretty sure that means that Itachi is more powerful than Jiraiya too. Because Jiraiya consistently thinks that Orochimaru will either beat him or they're at the same level of power. So for Naruto to go up against someone who's even more powerful than Jiraiya, that doesn't matter that this nigga got genjutsu resistance.
Extremely large. The last one to mention is Naruto getting a bit smarter, which mainly comes from his ability to defeat Kakashi during the bell test by spoiling his favorite novel, or I guess fake spoiling in this case. I think literally all of this would be fine to learn over the course of 6 months. Training to master the Nine Tails amounted to nothing. His genjutsu resistance amounted to nothing. His big Rasengan is good, but it's just a broader interpretation of a jutsu Naruto already mastered in a short amount of time anyway. You know what would have showed more progress than this, unironically? If Naruto could finally use a Rasengan with one hand. The only time he has ever done.
Bro, I've been saying that. I don't understand why they kept that. I think, I deadass think that should have been, yeah. That would have been the perfect, that to me was a little bit of a missed opportunity. They don't even fix, bro, Naruto is still using shadow clones to create Rasengans all the way up until the war arc. He never, the only time he's gonna say it, I think the only time he uses a Rasengan with one hand is at the end of the show when he fights Sasuke. It's fucking stupid.
Done this up to this point is when he was in his one tail form against Sasuke in the
when he was a kid. Wow.
Valley by using the chakra from his cloak. He can't even use this bigger Rasengan in a more efficient way. And yeah, I hyped up the power it had when making contact with Itachi, that giant crater. But aside from that, what did it do? Nothing. It beat an Itachi clone after it ran out of chakra and couldn't use its Mangekyo Sharingan. Like I said earlier, I'll be fair in saying that this is Itachi of all people.
Come on, bro. And a clone of Itachi that couldn't fight anymore. Come on, bro.
People, but I don't think.
Stupid.
Like I said earlier, power it had when making.
It's like that's like me saying I beat John Jones in a 1v1 fight after he done fought 10 niggas, is gassed out, passed out twice in the fight prior, and he's like dehydrated and clearly like, out of breath, and then I walk up to that nigga and I knock him out. Like, that's like, come on, bro, you didn't really beat him.
Making contact with Itachi, that giant crater. But
I'm pretty sure Naruto had help in that fight. I'm almost sure Chiho and Kakashi were there for that fight.
Aside from that, what did it do? Nothing. It beat an Itachi clone after it ran out of chakra and couldn't use its Mangekyo Sharingan. Like I said earlier, I'll be fair in saying that this is Itachi of all people, but I don't think that it matters for the story overall, and I'll explain why here. This plot point establishes that the Akatsuki have soldiers at the ready and loyal to the Akatsuki. Why not have them fight Naruto and Kakashi? If you know Naruto can't do anything against Akatsuki members, then don't have the guy fight Akatsuki members. What really changes about the story if instead of clones Team Guy and Team Kakashi take out full power Akatsuki grunts? Nothing. Literally nothing changes. If you want to bring up how they're weaker than Akatsuki members to hype up the Akatsuki more, you can have one of the Akatsuki members say that they simply were not strong enough to join the organization, and have another one say that they were about 30% there. An almost identical situation to Kisame and Itachi being at around 30% when doing the fight. Also, to wrap up this video, I'd like to mention the possibility that Naruto being overwhelmed and not able to do much by himself might be the entire point of this story at the beginning. However underwhelming it makes Naruto seem after the time skip, and I can respect that. But I don't think that it being the point of the story makes it a good story, especially given how it's a stark contrast to how Naruto progressed throughout part 1, which spanned about half the time of the part 2 time skip. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this topic.
Yeah.
If you like the video, obviously leave a like.
Yeah. Naruto arguably, throughout the course of Naruto, he progresses infinitely more. Like, not infinitely, but he progresses so much more between episode 1 of Naruto and the end of part 1, which is like, what, a couple months, a year at most, versus the 2.5 years that was between the time skip and Shippuden. That's why there's so many people who think that part 1 Naruto is stronger than Shippuden Naruto. That used to be a take. That used to be a take in the early 2000s. And I mean in the 2010s. That part 1 Naruto was stronger than Shippuden Naruto. Because Shippuden Naruto could not control the Nine Tails like the younger version could. The younger version was going Nine Tails every 10 seconds. Shippuden Naruto, every time Shippuden Naruto goes Nine Tails, somebody's talking about, oh my gosh, he's gonna die. Like when what's it called, when he went up against Orochimaru, literally, what's her name, Tsunade or Sakura was like, hey, you just shortened your lifespan. I'm playing this because the Earthlings, they used to be so tough. But again, I don't expect these niggas to be as powerful as Goku and Vegeta for the entire fucking series. That wouldn't make any sense. The main characters are always gonna be stronger, man. Unless it's a show like Hunter x Hunter where they reinforce the entire show that Nin is a slow grind. So I don't expect Killua and Gon to be stronger than the other people for a long time. Because they make it clear that in order to learn Nin effectively, not only do you need talent and ingenuity, you need time. You need time and experience. You'll never. It's basically like you either have to cheat, which is considered the wrong way to learn Nin. Those Nin contracts. That's every single teacher of Nin says that's the wrong way to learn Nin and that you shouldn't do it. So
It's fair to an extent, but you gotta give the benefit of the doubt to one of the most powerful to get on the Jedi Council.
the way that's why there's a stark contrast between Kurapika's training and Gon and Killua's training. Gon and Killua are doing it the slow grind way. They're doing it particularly one by one, day by day. Kurapika is taking shortcuts. And his teacher is like, bro, you could have done every single one. I'm pretty sure he even tells Kurapika, hey, you could have learned all of those powers for free, but you fucked it up.
Council, you have to be one of the best, wisest, and most powerful Jedi, right? Wrong. You remember the legendary Coleman Trevor? Yeah. All he does is get wiped out by Jango Fett in 2 shots. Then there's Eth Koth. In his only appearance in the Clone Wars, he gets captured and humiliated by Grievous. So then he stepped down from the Jedi Council and left the Jedi Order entirely to start a family. After Order 66, Darth Vader hunted him down and destroyed Eth Koth in a duel, and then proceeded to kill his wife and kids for good measure. Which reminds me, Anakin Skywalker technically counts as a council member, even though he wasn't granted the rank of Master. Anakin was only on the council for a matter of days, in addition to being the youngest and least experienced, so he doesn't really have that going for him. Even before Anakin joined the council, he was going down a dark path, from massacring the Tusken Raiders to executing Dooku. But the honor of being granted a seat must have gone to his head, because then he went and raided the Jedi Temple, killed numerous younglings, and ended the Order as the galaxy knew it. And on top of all of that, he became one of the most terrible and powerful Sith of all time. Anakin's obviously a bad Jedi, and definitely not a good council member. But what actually makes a good council member? Well, for starters, they need to be good Jedi. This means they must follow the light side of the Force to the best of their ability, selflessly serving others without unnecessary attachments to other things, and truly being peacekeepers for the Republic. But as far as their duties on the council are concerned, it's important to note how long they served on the council, and what their rank on the council was, like Battle Master or Grand Master, for example. And of course, as leaders of the Jedi Order, we have to remember how they led the Order as a whole. Did their leadership take the Jedi in the right direction, or were they to blame for its downfall? Ki-Adi-Mundi is one such Jedi who we can blame for the corrupting of the Order. Mundi was already an incompetent, if not terrible, Jedi at the time of the Acolyte. He was one of the high-ranking Jedi who were consulted after it was revealed that there was a potential Sith on the loose. He elected to do nothing about it, even though he was seemingly aware of the ensuing cover-up that took place. In this instance, we see a few traits of Mundi that he displays throughout his entire career on the Council. We see this later on with Ki-Adi-Mundi's encounters with Anakin in particular, or when Qui-Gon tries to convince the Council that he may have encountered a Sith. Then there's his indecisiveness and unwillingness to act, unless it has to do with the droid attack on the Wookiees. Like with the Acolyte situation, even though there's the threat of darkness on the horizon, he'd rather do nothing about it. And then in other situations, his quick judgments are there's the threat of darkness on the horizon.
Halfway good scene of this entire show. And even then, I think it's overhyped. Because in this fight, you have Padawans outperforming Jedi Masters. Just stupidest shit ever. And it's not like it's like Anakin. And even then, Anakin, I don't think Anakin ever outshines a Jedi Master. Even when he is a Jedi Master.
He'd rather do nothing about it. And then in other situations, his quick judgments are often misplaced. When Ahsoka was accused of the bombing of the Jedi Temple, Mundi was one of the first to condemn Ahsoka and one of the most...
Usually the only times when Jedi Knight Anakin is like outpacing a Jedi Master is when he's tapping into the dark side, which is the bad thing.
Vocal against her as well, despite holes in the evidence and other things that clouded the clearness of the case.
Diminishing Anakin's power. I think that in a one-on-one fight, by the time... No, that's me talking about Jedi, not Anakin. The Anakin that's like in the black Jedi robes, like the one with the scar black Jedi robes. Yeah, that Anakin's beating basically anybody in a one-on-one fight.
Or when Yoda
even
claims to be hearing voices from the past,
even
Mundi
Mace
is
Windu,
basically the...
Even Mace Windu, because in my opinion, I don't believe in the hype. I don't believe in the hype that I don't believe that Palpatine is a better lightsaber duelist than fucking Anakin. Prime Anakin? No. I don't think Palpatine is a better lightsaber duelist than Anakin or Darth Vader.
First,
I don't think it's like bro, we never see Palpatine use a lightsaber. That doesn't fucking make any sense. It makes no sense that Palpatine would be a better lightsaber duelist than Darth Vader, the guy who's known for being the craziest saber duelist to ever live.
To think Yoda's losing his marbles, which is fair to an extent, but you gotta give
the only person who's comparable to Darth Vader in dueling is Yoda.
Benefit of the doubt to one of the most powerful and experienced Jedi of all time. Finally,
and even then, I still think Darth Vader would beat Yoda.
And I think this is the most clear thing against him, is his strict and rigid applications of the Jedi rules and traditions without upholding the most important parts of being a Jedi. This caused him
Prime Vader versus Prime Yoda, bro, come on.
To be detached to the point of lacking compassion. The Galactic Marines, the clone battalion he led, were known as the most brutal and battle-hardened clones in the entire...
I don't think, and that's just because, bro, people don't understand how overpowered Darth Vader is. Darth Vader is the strongest Sith to ever live. Now, I do think. No, I still think I think Darth Vader is almost. So, without Darth. Hot take, but if Darth Vader's suit wasn't weak to lightning, I guarantee you Darth Vader could kill Palpatine. Palpatine purposely made his suit weak to lightning because he was afraid that Darth Vader would kill him. That should tell you all you need to know. He purposely handicapped Vader because he knew Vader would beat his ass. So...
Grand Army of the Republic, and obviously soldiers take after their leader. This speaks volumes about Ki-Adi-Mundi in my opinion. A good Jedi General is one that cares for and loves the clones under their command. Anakin, Ahsoka, or Plo Koon are great examples of this. In contrast, Jedi Master Coleman Siaj managed to survive Order 66. He joined the Council during the Clone Wars. He doesn't speak or do anything during the movies or the Clone Wars show, but we do have to assume that he went along with some of the Council's bad decision making leading up to Revenge of the Sith, since he was present for all of it. It's unclear where Coleman was during Order 66, but according to an Inquisitor's list of surviving Jedi, he's still out there somewhere. If he isn't dead, he ought to be helping the rebellion or some resistance effort. And with the current content we have, it doesn't seem like he did that, which isn't a good look. Unlike Master Siaj, Jedi Master Stas Ali did not escape Order 66. She's the Jedi who's killed on her speeder by her wingman. I mentioned this in my Ranking Jedi video, but I just can't believe how unaware she is at this moment. Apparently, she has absolutely no idea what's going on. She was on the Council for a very short amount of time, just like Anakin. Stas Ali replaced her cousin, Adi Gallia, after Adi got thrashed by Savage Opress. So for those of you that don't know, yes, those are two different people. Star Wars is really great at making look-alike characters with no explanation. Stas Ali spent most of her time away from combat situations, which explains her lack of awareness of her troops' betrayal. Other than Geonosis, it's unclear how many campaigns she was a part of.
Yeah.
While not unskilled at combat,
yeah, you gotta understand, Jedi are peacekeepers, not soldiers. So Jedi are definitely very dynamic in what they do. There are Jedi who are basically just politicians. They're not really warriors.
she was better at diplomacy, holding positions such as leader of the medical corps. This is because she was one of the most skilled force healers in the Jedi Order. She was the most prominent member of the exclusive circle of Jedi healers. But at the end of the day,
I hate that they're making force heal into something.
there's really just not much known about her, and she barely served on the council at all, which is why she's here. Agent Kolar fell into almost the exact same position as Stas Ali. Agent Kolar replaced Eth Koth on the council, and guess what? They look almost identical too. Because Eth Koth left the Order between the events of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, Agent Kolar only served on the council for a short amount of time as well. Once again, there's not much known about him at all. Apparently he was a renowned duelist. However, because of this, he had become very confident in his skills, believing he could take on any opponent. This caused him to be extremely impulsive and jump into unnecessary combat situations, which is not the Jedi way at all. When Grievous attacked Coruscant, Agent Kolar and his squadron engaged the Separatists so quickly that Grievous got the opening he wanted, allowing the cyborg to capture the Chancellor. In a chance for redemption, Kolar failed to stop Grievous' shuttle on the way back to the Invisible Hand. You'd think such a great fighter would at least give Palpatine a run for his money, which is why Mace Windu selected Agent Kolar to join his team, but Kolar is the first to go down against the Dark Lord. Here's an interesting thought though. Would the Clone Wars have happened at all if it weren't for Master Sifo Dyas? There's not much out there about Sifo Dyas, and what little we do know is shrouded in mystery. He was a bit of an eccentric Jedi as far as his beliefs, probably similar to the likes of Qui-Gon or his friend Dooku. As it turns out, Sifo Dyas' friendship with Dooku would come back to bite him, but I'll get to that in a second. Sifo Dyas was extremely powerful in the Force and had the special ability of foresight, being able to clearly see future events many decades away. So obviously he could see the coming war ahead, and he knew the Republic would need an army. First, he consulted the Council. They thought he was crazy. As a result, Sifo Dyas is one of the very few to be kicked off the Council. Normally, this would knock his ranking down a lot, but seeing as his visions came to fruition, I can't really blame him for trying to act. However, I'm not sure if hiring cloners to make an army was the Jedi's best course of action, which is exactly what Sifo Dyas chose. His mistake was confiding in Dooku, who betrayed him to Sidious. The Sith hatched a plan to have his ship shot down over Obadiah, which allowed Sidious to take control of the production of the clones and have inhibitor chips placed in them. Now, I find it likely that Sidious would have found a way to orchestrate the Clone Wars anyway. Sifo Dyas just made it a lot easier for him. But you can't blame the guy. He was just ahead of his time. And let's be real, the Council should have had second thoughts about utilizing an army that was made by cloners hired by the Sith. Perhaps if the Council had had Jedi like Tara Sinub on the Council the whole time, things would have been different. That's because Tara Sinub specialized in crime scene investigations and solving crimes. He served on the Council for 40 years before stepping down due to concerns about the direction the Order was going. For anyone who's in tune with the light side of the Force, that was definitely the right decision. In his time after being on the Council, he focused on helping the Coruscant police. That's how he met Ahsoka to help her look for her stolen lightsaber in his only Clone Wars appearance. Sometime after, he was killed by Inquisitors and entombed in Fortress Inquisitorius. He's definitely a Jedi with better values than most, but it's unclear what he did while he was on the Council. Jocasta Nu served on the Council at roughly the same time as Sinub, but she left to focus on her duties as head of the Jedi Archives. You probably remember her from her short appearance in Episode 2, where she tries to help Obi-Wan find Kamino, or from this Clone Wars episode, where a shape-shifting bounty hunter took her identity and stole a holocron. Yeah, she wasn't the greatest fighter, but in being Chief Librarian, she served a vital and incredibly important role to the Order. Especially in wartime, her skills proved invaluable as the Jedi tried to stay one step ahead of the Confederacy. It seems that she was more logical and level-headed than other Jedi on the Council. When Master Eno Cordova came to Coruscant talking about a vision he saw where the Jedi Order was going to fall, the Council dismissed him, but Jocasta Nu believed him. So when Darth Vader raided the Jedi Temple, she was prepared. She secured the holocron that contained the list of all the Force-sensitive children in the galaxy and prevented Vader from taking it before he executed her. I would put her higher, but most of the important work she did was when she wasn't